Yo, HTG crew, what up, baby? Coming off a strong week at the Open Championship. Let's go. Bank accounts looking good, y'all. Bankrolls looking good, I should say. Fuck yeah. Needed a big week, guys, and at a major championship. Doesn't get any better than having a big week at a major championship. We had tons of huge contests and payouts on Draftkings. Unfortunately, unlike the last couple of weeks, didn't get any screenshots indicating that any of you hit it big out there. But I'm suspecting, given the week that I had, that most of you HTG pod listeners out there had yourselves a strong week. Hopefully, you did not play too much of a couple of guys that burned me in a few lineups, Alex Noren and mostly Patrick Cantlay. If he could have just made the cut, would have been an enormous week for us, but I don't know. He completely shit the bed. It's weird with Cantlay. Sometimes you just, I mean, it's an Open Championship, but this golf course didn't play particularly difficult. The weather was, well, we'll get into that with the Open Championship recap, but Cantlay, a disappointment. Let's go ahead and get to sparking up before we talk recap of the 2021 Open Championship and eventually get into this week's event, which is the 2021 3M Open. So today I am smoking again, running it back. I'm smoking the Mac. Grower again is Ember Valley. It is a hybrid testing at 23.24% THC. And let's get it popping. All right. Yep, looks like we're off and running. Get one more spark to it. Okay. So, 2021 Open Championship. I mean, awesome event. Disappointing only in the sense that I really wanted to see inclement weather conditions. I mentioned that on the podcast leading up to the Open. I mean, I like to see these guys playing in some rain, playing in some wind, really difficult conditions, having to really do some stellar shot making, control trajectories. We basically got none of that last week at the Open. The weather was, I mean, perfect. Like, it was like irregularly warm and hot for Sandwich, England for this time of year. And the winds really were not to be seen all week long. These guys torched this golf course, and, you know, we were prepared for a week where weather conditions would be inclement. And I think we would have had a really, really big week if the winds did pick up and if weather conditions were not, I mean, they were ideal this past week at the Open Championship. I think it would have been a real big week for us. It's the weather conditions and the expectation of wind that took us off guys like Morikawa, right? Took us off guys like a JT who didn't necessarily perform as well. But even like a Corey Connors who had a great finish, a reason we stayed off of him. It was bizarre how the weather broke this week. And I really do think that the biggest beneficiary in the field was your tournament winner. And I mean, I want to take nothing away from him and his performance on Sunday. He was spectacular. Colin Morikawa finishes at 15 under, 2 shots clear of Jordan Spieth, who came solo second. I mean, that bogey-free 66 in the final round for Morikawa is as good as it gets. Dude made clutch putt after clutch putt. If he could have just missed one of those clutch par savers, would have been an even larger week for us on DraftKings here. So had a lot of opportunities to really go big on DraftKings this past week. Still certainly happy with where we finished. And yeah, with the win, Morikawa really has jump-started his PGA Tour career to an unprecedented start. This is now 2 majors for him, and his 2 major championships both come in his first career appearance at the event. That being the PGA Championship. Of course, he won in his first career appearance, and now winning in his first career Open Championship appearance. Smoke one to you, Colin Morikawa. Tip of the cap. I mean, holy shit, this kid is a generational talent. I mean, the things that John Rahm has been doing lately also have my eyebrows raised, but Morikawa is the guy on tour in particular I'm looking to maybe push a career like that of a Tiger Woods, dare I say. I know it's blasphemous to talk about my boy T-Dub, really in the vein of anyone, especially, a kid as young as Morikawa. But, man, I've said it many times on the podcast, and many people have mentioned it before. Before me and after me, they'll say it. We have not seen an iron player this talented on tour since Tiger Woods. Colin Morikawa's iron prowess it's unbelievable, and the mental capacity he has to couple with that, which also reminds us of our boy T-Dub. It's unparalleled. That kid clearly believes he can win anytime he tees it up, and he wins often. And if he can really continue to tap into that clutch putting that we saw in the Sunday round, which again, reminiscent of our boy T-Dub, and sort of wrap all those things together, Colin Morikawa is a special, special, special player. Certainly now, even as good as Hovland and Wolff have been, he is head and shoulders above these guys as far as his current legacy stands. And man, he's still incredibly young and has a long, long career ahead of him. So super excited for what's to come from Colin Morikawa, and a special performance. One that outshined, rightfully so, but let's take a look at what Jordan Spieth did in his second place finish at -13. The Magic's back for Spieth, no doubt about that. We've seen it in, it's nice to see it in a major that's not the Masters, right? A major that's not being played at Augusta. Aside from that, we've seen it from Spieth on tour all year this year. One of the best players on tour this year. If you take the entire year into account, maybe he doesn't have the top end finishes at the big events that some of these other names do, but Spieth has had as good a year as any. And watching he and Morikawa both, the putting performance that they put on Sunday was a treat. Both of those guys rolled the flat stick so beautifully, and everything that left the putter face looked like it was going in. If Jon Rahm could have had, the same sort of performance with the putter on Sunday that Morikawa and Spieth were having, the dude might have shot 60. It was out there for him. That dude could have pushed double digit under par in that round. He was striking the ball like a madman. That dude put everything inside of 15 feet, it seemed like. Even his second shots into par fives. Almost jarred out for an albatross as well. So, watching that round from a ball striking standpoint was unbelievable. Rahm, the hottest player in the world right now. Pretty easy to say that. If he just could have gotten the putter to agree with him a little bit more, then that T3 finish that he had would have certainly been better. Rahm could have really been in contention this week if he had a better week with the putter, or even just a better final round with the putter, where he was burning the edge with birdie putts on every hole, it seemed like. Also missed a short par putt early in the round, I think on number 2, somewhere around there. But yeah, if Rahm had the putter going, man, could have been back-to-back major championships for him. But the T3 finish does move him to the number 1 in the official world golf rankings. He passes DJ, who now bumps down to number 2. Morikawa now number 3 in the official world golf rankings with the win, bumping Justin Thomas down to 4th in the official world golf rankings. So yeah, all in all, fun week. It's awesome just getting to see these guys tee off at 11 p.m. on Thursday and Friday, or 10:30 p.m. Pacific time, Thursday and Friday. And then into the weekend, they're teeing off more like that midnight time. But it's just so much fun to watch and track as a golf betting degenerate such as myself, and I'm sure all of you guys are. It is my favorite event of the year. It's fucking awesome. So with that, let's put a wrap on the Open Championship, 2021 Open Championship. Let's hope 2022 we get some more inclement weather. Because I don't know. I don't love seeing my Open Championships played in, sunshine, no wind, warm conditions. Not for me. Just not for me, guys. What is for me is playing DraftKings lineups in the 2021 3M Open, which is where we are this week. We're playing at TPC Twin Cities. That's in Blaine, Minnesota, just outside Minneapolis. Par 71, 7,431 yards, and we are on bent greens. So at par 71, 7,431 yards, not a particularly long golf course, as evidenced by your defending champion, Michael Thompson, at 19 under, defending his title. He shot 19 under last year. Prior to that, Matthew Wolff won the inaugural event. So you don't, there's not one particular skill set that is viable here. There are multiple skill sets that are viable here, evidenced by the fact that your two winners are Matthew Wolff and Michael Thompson, players that have two very, very different approaches, no pun intended, two, but very, very different skill sets, I should say, when they come to the golf course. There are going to be plenty of birdies made here. You're going to be looking at like a 20 under winning score. It really reminds me, it's like similar to the type of setup that we've had in this run of recent events, right? We're going to be looking at a lot of the same guys, like from the John Deere, the Rocket Mortgage, the Travelers, the Charles Schwab. We're going to be looking at a lot of the same guys we're looking at there. Main difference being there is a ton of fucking water on this course. I see that in my notes from last year. It's fun. I've reached the point here at the HTG pod where we're overlapped from last year. So I can actually review my notes from last year to take a look and see how things played out. But yeah, there is a ton of water on this golf course, which can lead to some scoring volatility. I have a note in my notes from last year that says, fading the top end is more viable here because of this volatility. And thinking about that now, I was probably just using, I had a little bit of recency bias then probably because a lot of the top end flamed out in last year's event. DJ withdrew being the worst case. But while there is more volatility, I do agree with that point still because anyone can find the water at any time, right? It can happen. I'm not going to shy away from a top end play that I like just because of that. So I'm taking that note from last year with a grain of salt. Weather this week, it's going to be scorching hot. It's going to be in the low 90s all week. Winds will be around 7 miles per hour in the morning and slowly tick up to about 13 miles per hour in the afternoons, pretty consistently, according to the forecasts, Thursday through Sunday. So ball should be traveling pretty far. Again, you don't have to be long to win on this golf course anyway. So any skill set's really in play as long as you are ball striking well. I want to see you performing well off the tee and on approach. So the statistical model or golfer prototype we are looking for this week, we looked at strokes gained ball striking, strokes gained on par fours, and strokes gained putting. It's a very, very simple model this week. No need to put data points in that don't matter, right? Like normally we have usually anywhere from 4 to I'd say 6 of these statistics that we look at and we mix and match. But this week, it really looks like this golf course only calls for 3 of them. So that's what we're going to go ahead and roll with. My winner comes from the mid-shelf plays. So let me know who you think my winner is. Leave that comment on YouTube and also drop who you think is going to win the 2021 3M Open. We do not have any withdrawals this week, which is actually pretty surprising, especially given, the COVID environment that still exists and seems to be resurging a bit. So good to see that no one has withdrawn. And yeah, I've got another pretty short player pool for you guys this week. I got 2 players in the top shelf here. I've got, I believe 10 players in the mid shelf. And I extended the SCHWAG bag this week because a pretty weak field coming to this event. So a lot of players under $7,500 on DraftKings actually make sense this week. So we actually have 8 SCHWAG bag plays this week. Another thing to mention before I go ahead and jump into the top shelf plays, something I noticed that's very interesting. Ownership projections very flat this week across the board. That's to say there aren't many chalk plays. There aren't many guys garnering a ton of ownership. Everyone's just really sort of sitting in that, mid-teens sort of range. So if it seems like a pretty good week to play like a lot of lineups. If you're someone that maybe is interested in taking, I don't know, $75 and maxing out 150 maxing the 50-cent tournament, it seems like a pretty good week to do something like that because you can sort of take your stances on some of these guys and gain leverage pretty easily. Given that ownership projection is flat, and you can still include a pretty large player pool without taking on a lot of risk. So yeah, be a very interesting week to max enter given the flat ownership, in my opinion. And with that, let's respark. I'm going to get a sip of water, and we're going to get into our top shelf plays. Top shelf plays are $10,000 or more in DraftKings salary. First top shelf play is Dustin Johnson, the man that withdrew last year, $11,300 price tag, 15.9% projected ownership. And I mean, I don't really have to explain to you why DJ, especially in this field, is the guy that you should be playing. Second highest priced player in this field is Louis Oosthuizen. Third's Tony Finau. I mean, DJ, significantly better players than both of these guys. I understand Louis is in unconscious form. Probably should have talked about him in the Open Championship recap. Came T3, just one place off where Louis is used to finishing in these major championships. And second, you can thank Jordan Spieth for not cursing him with another second place finish. But man, Louis has been playing some really good golf. I just think, off the back of these two major disappointments, or disappointments in major championships, I should say. They aren't major disappointments per se, but disappointments in major championships. I just don't know how in it Louis is going to be. If you want to go to him, sure, it's viable. 12% projected ownership. If you were down at like 5%, then yeah, I'd take some cracks at him. But at 12%, I'm fine leaving Louis off the table and instead going to Dustin Johnson. Again, $11,300, the highest priced player in the field, 15.9% projected ownership. But I mean, the guy's a stud. Comes in third overall in the custom model, 22nd in putting, 17th in ball striking, and 13th on the par fours. And obviously, he is the most talented player in this field. So for 15.9% projected ownership, I will be starting most of my lineups with Dustin Johnson. Maybe that withdrawal last year scaring some people away. I don't know. I'm a little surprised to see his ownership down here at 15.9%. A lot of people flocking to Tony Finau at $10,700, 18.3% projected ownership. I would rather just go to DJ. Finau did play well at the Open Championship, as he always does in his 5 appearances there. He's come in the top 30 every single time. But I would just rather pay the extra $600 to go to a guy who, just in my opinion, has a lot more win equity in Dustin Johnson. If I am going to play another player up here in the top shelf, I'm going to take a crack at Patrick Reed. $10,300 price tag, 16.9% projected ownership. And Reed, whenever I mention him, you guys who watch the podcast know, it's not really about how he rates out in the model. It's just, this is a golf course that I can see Reed being able to dominate, being able to play well at. If he comes in good form, he's always live. When I say if he comes in good form, you'll know if Patrick Reed is in good form by watching him play like his first 9 holes. You'll know if the shot making's there, and if it is, then he's definitely live to win this event. Came T23 in 2019, did not play the event last year. But as far as win equity goes up here in the top shelf, and coupled that with projected ownership, I really do like Reed and Johnson as my plays. And again, only have 2 top shelf plays this week, so that can take us into the mid shelf where I have 10 plays. Mid shelf plays are $7,500 or more in DraftKings salary. The first mid shelf play, he was our winner last week at the Open. He played well, but obviously not well enough, not nearly well enough. Sergio Garcia, $9,900 price tag, 14.2% projected ownership, coming in 6th in the custom model, 7th in ball striking, 9th on the par 4s, but 82nd in putting. Just going to need to figure it out, the flat stick, to really present us with a lot of upside, but again, putting, something that can run a little bit more volatilely. So if Sergio can find a good week on these bent greens, I do like him at that $9,900 price tag, 14.2% projected ownership. You should have known, listeners of the pod, that when I mentioned ball striking being a large component of the model this week, Emiliano Grillo is going to pop up. $9,300 price tag is a bit elevated, but I mean, the ball striking, as usual, has been unbelievable. Coming in 12th in this field over the last 12 measured rounds in ball striking, strokes gained ball striking, coming in 14th in the par 4s, 87th with the putter. He's basically a poor man Sergio Garcia. So if we're playing Garcia, I do like correlating him with Grillo in lineups because I think, if these bent greens do allow to sort of neutralize bad putters, then Sergio and Grillo both stand to benefit in a similar fashion. After that $9,300 price tag for Grillo, I'm dropping all the way down. I'm skipping this whole range here, which is going to sort of lock us into a build, but I think it's going to be a bit more unique because we are skipping a lot of ownership in the low $9,000 to high $8,000 range. But after Grillo at 9,300, I'm going to dip all the way down to Maverick McNeely, the Stanford Cardinal alum, $8,400 price tag, coming in 12th in the custom model, 16th in putting, 27th in ball striking, 33rd in the par fours, 16.8% projected ownership, so the ownership's there. McNeely's been playing these short golf courses exceptionally well. As I mentioned, this recent run of John Deere, Rocket Mortgage, Travelers, Charles Schwab. Well, McNeely's been playing well at all of those events. Tournament history for McNeely, he has not played this event yet. I actually would like to see where McNeely finished at the Honda Classic. Honda is a pretty good comp due to all the water. I just want to see if, maybe he has a proponent for hitting a lot of the water. Missed the cut at the Honda this past year. Let's see, if in 2020 he came 11th at the Honda, so absolutely fine as far as corollary course performance goes for McNeely. I will be firing up some Ab McNeely pretty confidently this week. My Stanford guy, been in good form, played these short golf courses well. Yeah, Maverick McNeely, $8,400 price tag, and a 16.8% projected ownership. The ownership on this next guy getting a little bit out of control, but he's been hitting the ball really well lately. Luke List, $8,100 price tag, but 18% projected ownership. He's played this event both years it's been held. He was cut the first time in 2019, became T32 last year. List coming in the custom model at 11th. He's 5th in ball striking, 32nd in par fours, and 96th with the putter. So as I mentioned, the ball striking for List has been really good lately, but I don't know. $8,100 with some other really good players around him, 18% projected ownership, and the fact that the guy I'm going to talk about next, I am going to play, and he's very high owned, sort of like a cheaper version of Luke List. I think pairing these two guys together it's going to be hard to get, to really differentiate the rest of your lineup. If you pair these guys together, you could, but I'd prefer to choose between them. So I might leave Luke List on the chopping block, and if I do, he'd be on the chopping block for Hank Lebioda at $7,900, 22.1% projected ownership. A guy who's been balling out for us, HTG Pod. I mean, HTG crew, if you've been playing this guy, he's been paying off in dividends over this last stretch that I mentioned, the same golf courses that I mentioned for Maverick McNeely in same events. Lebioda's been doing the damn thing for us, coming in 9th in the custom model, 39th in ball striking, 2nd on the par fours, and 2nd in putting. He's still carrying this nuclear hot putter form that he's had for these last 4 events. I'm going to keep riding Hank Lebioda until the wheels fall off. And even at 22.1% projected ownership, I was surprised to see that his price tag had not climbed more. I mean, this guy's been playing some really good golf. He really should be up there with McNeely, given how well he's been playing recently. I was surprised not to see him in this weak field and that, at least in the 8K range. So Lebioda, fire him up. You can also look to Doug Gim at the same price tag, 16.4% projected ownership. Gim coming in the custom model, 17th. 18th in ball striking, 23rd on the par fours, 79th in putting. Tournament history for Gim came T18 last year. Doug Gim's been in good form. He pops up as a play here on the HTG pod pretty regularly, I would say, especially in weak fields. Last time we saw him gained an unbelievable 7.7 strokes on approach at John Deere. So yeah, that's the type of form with the irons that we like to see if we're going to back a guy like Gim at this event. So yeah, play yourself some Doug Gim, $7,900, 16.4% projected ownership. Just a bit of an ownership discount to Lebioda, but I do prefer Lebioda to Gim in a vacuum. With the ownership discount, it's much closer, but I still, I'll still probably be looking to Lebioda, our guy who's just been turning out solid result after solid result. Another Stanford Cardinal in the mid-shelf. My bad. Maverick McNeely, my Stanford Cardinal, $8,400. He is my winner. I'm going to ride or die with my Stanford Cardinal this week. I really do think that they have a good chance. And in a weak field, if the top shelf, these guys with the high win equity, the Dustin Johnsons, the Patrick Reeds, the Tony Finau's of the world, if they don't win the event, I think Maverick McNeely can beat most of these other guys, pretty much all of these other guys in this field, if he brings his A-plus game, which is very possible around a short golf course, which we've seen he's been playing well recently. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. My fault, guys. Maverick McNeely is my winner. And that brings me back to my other Stanford Cardinal, Mr. Patrick Rogers, $7,600 price tag, 11.2% projected ownership. Rogers came T32 here last year, coming in the custom model second. He's 9th in ball striking, 5th in the par 4s, and 37th with the putter, doing everything well here lately, and that's exactly what we want to see. Made the cut again here in his only appearance at this event last year. I'm riding or dying with my Stanford Cardinal. Love myself some P-Rog this week. Again, $7,600 price tag, 11.2% projected ownership. And that ownership projection, I like. It's almost down there in single digits, just barely cracking over double digits. With a lot of these guys being north of 15% and, Lebiota being north of 20%, it's nice to be able to have some plays that you can sort of differentiate your lineups with. And another one of those plays, similar to Rogers, and I might be pairing him with Rogers in lineups, we'll see. Mito Pereira, $7,600 price tag, 11.4% projected ownership. Dominated the Korn Ferry Tour, won consecutive events last 2 times he's played on that tour. Starting to translate that success a little bit over onto the PGA Tour. Had a first rough crack at it back at Rocket Mortgage, where he missed the cut, as well as at Puerto Rico. But at John Deere, came 34th, gained 4.8 strokes off the tee and 2.4 strokes on approach. And at Barbasol, albeit in a weak field with most of, the good players over at the Open Championship, gained 5.1 strokes off the tee and 3.2 strokes on approach, came 5th. So Mito Pereira looking like he's starting to figure it out and get a little more comfortable on the PGA Tour. And a guy who's used to making birdies, being that he's used to winning on the Korn Ferry Tour, which takes absurd below par numbers to win. I like myself some Mito Pereira at this event. So 11.4% projected ownership, $7,600. The chalk down in this price range is Jonathan Vegas, $7,500 price tag, 18.5% projected ownership. I get it because the ball striking's been stupid. First in this field over the last 12 measured rounds in ball striking, 18th in par 4s, 95th with the putter. But at 18.5% projected ownership, I do like Pereira and Rogers, like guys like this enough that I can justify a fade on Vegas, but had to mention him here because he is statting out first overall in ball striking. So that guy's definitely worth a mention. And the last mid-shelf play is Joel Dahman, the bucket hat himself. One that I included, even though he just missed my threshold based on statting out in the model. But in looking at how he's been playing, I want to include him here. Came in 36th in the custom model, 37th in ball striking, 15th on the par 4s, 115th with the putter is really where Dahman's been struggling. I really like the ownership projection in single digits at 7.2%. And his last couple performances have been good, At the Memorial, gained 4.1 strokes on approach. He did lose 3.2 strokes off the tee there, but that's the only event he's lost off the tee in his last 10. So I can trust him to, return back to form off the tee pretty quickly, which he did at Rocket Mortgage. He gained 0.6 strokes off the tee, gained another 1 stroke on approach. At the Open Championship, he came T46, which I did not really like the fit for Dahman at the Open Championship. If the weather conditions were poor, so he's another one that I think really benefits from there being ideal weather conditions. But still, he played well on a course that wasn't necessarily going to be a great fit for him. Which gives me confidence for Dahman coming into this week. So 7.2% projected ownership. Yeah, give me some Joel Dahman, $7,500 price tag for that projected ownership. I think it is worth having some leverage on the field. And that takes us into our swag bag plays. Let me refill up on some water, spark the rest of this J, baby. We'll get into our 8 swag bag plays, one of which I don't even have projected ownership for because he's a Monday qualifier. So get ready to throw some darts, y'all. I got the bombs coming up next. Try not to burn my base off. The first swag bag play, $7,400 price tag. It is Adam Schenk, 14.3% projected ownership. Man, all these guys just sitting in the mid-teens in ownership. Schenk coming in 4th in the custom model, 21st in ball striking, 15th on par 4s, 8th with the putter, doing everything well, especially down here at a $7,400 price tag. So yeah, Schenk coming in good form. Came T41 here last year, was cut in 2019. So not the greatest tournament history, but at $7,400, a guy in that type of form is someone definitely worth mentioning. 14.3% projected ownership. I don't love necessarily, because I would prefer to pivot to another guy at the same price tag, SCHWAG, also at $7,400, 9% projected ownership. Has not played this event, but I think Reeve will be a good fit. I mean, it's a golf course where you don't have to be long off the tee, and that should scream SCHWAG. And he's been in good form recently, sort of sneaky good form, it would appear, given this projected ownership. Coming in 16th in the custom model, 22nd in ball striking, 12th on the par fours, and 72nd with the putter. If Shez can just improve with the flat stick a little bit, then he's definitely going to pay off this price tag. And yeah, when SCHWAG is in form, a form player, he deserves to be higher priced than the $7,400 price tag, in my opinion. So I do really like Reeve this week. Another guy, you should be unsurprised, you loyal listeners of the HTG pod, you HTG crew. Short golf course, right? Sort of second shot golf, per se. Kyle Stanley, $7,300 price tag, 12.5% projected ownership, coming in 23rd in the custom model, 4th in ball striking, of course, 45th on the par fours, 145th with the putter, as you would imagine. Story's been the same for Stanley all year. Plays these short golf courses well, phenomenal with the ball striking, a pathetic putter. Let's hope he can figure it out this week. But 12.5% projected ownership, I think, is worth the roll of the dice. Another guy that I will be playing for leverage purposes, Bo Hoag, $7,100 price tag, only 10.1% projected ownership. Hoag coming in 13th in the custom model, 8th in ball striking, 45th on the par fours, 77th with the putter. So another guy who, similar to Stanley, we're going to have to hope shows up with the putter this week. But it looks like Hoag should at least get some good feels around this golf course. Came T12 here last year, so the course history checks out. I like Hoag, only 10.1% projected ownership, down here in the SCHWAG bag, been hitting the ball well, has the good course history. He's checking every box. So let's go to some Bo Hoag this week. A guy who's been performing for us as well, sneaky performing for us, still down here in the $6,000 range. $6,800 Cameron Percy, 4.2% projected ownership. And I mean, Percy, he's been okay. 28th with the ball striking, 45th in the par fours, 53rd with the putter, so doing everything pretty solid and leading with that ball striking. Coming in 21st overall in the custom model. I mean, I don't necessarily hate the play. He did miss the cut here last year, but that's just one event, right? So not a large sample size. So not afraid to go to Cam Percy down here at $6,800. Nor am I afraid to go to Scott Brown. Same price tag, $6,800, only 2.5% projected ownership. He was also cut last year, but did come T15 in the inaugural event in 2019. Let's check out where Scott Brown is in the custom model, price at $6,800. Scott Brown coming in 18th in the custom model, 26th in ball striking, 29th on the par fours, 61st in putting. So also pretty much doing everything well. Just needs to, we want to see a little more upside with the putter. But down here to $6,800 price tag, you're just looking maybe for like a top 20, something like that. So if Scott Brown can maybe be like top 40 or so in putting, then the rest should be able to take care of itself. So Scott Brown looking solid. He has the course history. He's in decent form. Only 2.5% projected ownership and a $6,800 price tag. Seems fair to me. A guy who's picking up a little more ownership than I was expecting, so he's not as sneaky as I thought he might be. Jason Duffner, the Duff Daddy. Long time since I mentioned his name on the podcast. $6,600, 5.2% projected ownership. Been playing well recently, though, but as you can expect, has not been putting well. 15th in ball striking, 28th on the par fours, and 126th with the putter. That's good for 22nd overall in the custom model. I don't know. Duffner has the course history. He's made the cut both times. Came T66 in 2019, T32 in 2020, so improved year over year at the event. And he's just been playing good golf here recently. Let's pull up his recent performances. It's going to be volatile, obviously. But over his last three, he's gaining on approach massively. Gained 1.5 on approach at Rocket Mortgage, 6.9 on approach at John Deere, 2.2 on approach at the Barbasol. Given that it's a weak field, but still, at least he's gaining on approach. Gained off the tee in all three of those events as well. He's just gouging strokes with the putter, so, you're getting a great ball striker for this price tag at $6,600 and 5.2% projected ownership. I mean, obviously, this is one of those good leverage spots. And the last swag bag play and the final play of the 2021 3M Open for us here at the HTG Pod. It is the Monday qualifier that we don't know the ownership on. It is Norman Zhang, $6,300 price tag. I mean, Norm is like, he's supposed to be a golf prodigy for you guys who don't know about this guy. First really burst onto the scene a couple years ago. Was dominating at the University of Oregon after being a dominant high school player, really a dominant junior player as well. I mean, this kid's been talked about for quite some time since he was a young kid on the junior circuits. And yeah, everyone has nothing but spectacular things to say about him. He drew comparisons to Tiger Woods before he went to college at Oregon, and he played damn well at Oregon. Maybe he's ready now. I mean, shot a 7 under 64 at Monday qualifying, which obviously qualified him to be in this field. I don't know. Anytime I can get someone who's been described as a golf prodigy for a $6,300 price tag, and I don't think the ownership's going to be very high. Like, I can't see it getting past 5%, and honestly, I'd be surprised if it gets there. Yeah, you can fire some shots at Norman Zhang, $6,300 price tag, Monday qualifier, golf prodigy, great player at University of Oregon, all-time high school player. Yeah, we're gonna lean on the pedigree of Norm. And that does it for us here at the HTG Pod. HTG crew, make sure you hit us with the like if you have not subscribed on the YouTube channel. What the fuck are you doing? Hook it up. Come on. Hit that subscription button and also hit the notification bell so you know when new videos are up. I will also let you know that on the Instagram. You should also be following me at Hit the Green Podcast. Yeah, and that does it for us this week. Have an awesome 3M Open, guys. Hope you had a dope and profitable Open Championship. And yeah, let's ride this momentum. Go Mad McNeely. Go my Stanford Cardinal. You already know what it is, HTG crew. I love you. Peace.